How hard is it to ask for help? Are you able to ask for help? How about this? Is asking for help a bad thing? And does it mean you're weak? Here's a big right hook of reality for you. Are you man enough and strong enough to ask for help? Well, those are some questions we're going to dive into on today's show. Are you ready to be empowered with hope, faith, and confidence to believe in yourself, to overcome your fears and battle through every challenge and bully you face, both real and in your mind? Are you ready to learn life-changing strategies on how to develop the right mindset and positive mental attitude to courageously stand out in the crowd and be who you were born to be? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Building Warrior Confidence Podcast. Greetings and welcome to another life-changing episode of Warrior Confidence Unleashed. I'm your host, Master Grogan, and I'm truly grateful you're here today. If you're new to the show and it's your first time, then welcome to the show. And for all our friends that are back for another round of Warrior Confidence Power, welcome back. Well, how are we doing today? Well, hopefully that intro got you pumped up and fired up and you're ready to rock and roll, and hopefully you're already having a great day. But if not, hopefully this episode is exactly what you need to turn your day around. Well, this is episode number 357, and I titled this episode, The Humble Warrior, Embracing Vulnerability to Boost Confidence. Embracing vulnerability to boost and produce confidence. Well, you heard me ask some of the tease questions, and the tease questions at the very beginning is, how hard is it to ask for help? I know for a lot of us, it's dang near impossible. It's nearly, impossible, right? We think to say, it's not only difficult, but man, I can't do that. I can't ask for help. That would mean I'm not a man, because a man's supposed to be able to figure things out on his own. A man doesn't need help from anybody else. Yeah, I've said that. Believe it or not, that was kind of the 1.0 version of myself. Hopefully the 2.0 is much, much better. Well, I think it is. Why? Because, I'm humble enough to admit my mistakes. I'm humble enough to be a humble warrior and be vulnerable. That's really only the way to boost our confidence. Now, I'm not ever saying we don't give things a shot and try and figure it out on our own, right? No, we got to try and claw and scratch and battle through and figure things out on our own. And of course, with YouTube now, there's so many things we can just look up and figure out. Yeah, no longer read the instruction manual, just watch something on YouTube. But I'm clawing a little deeper here about the humility aspect of asking for help. It's okay, because we all have a unique God-given talent. We do. And we're not good or great or even able to do everything. That's why, there's over 8 billion people on this planet and everybody's unique in their own gifted ways. We need to take advantage of those things. Now, what I mean by take advantage of those things is utilize other people's expertise and be humble enough to ask for help. Once again, don't just give up without trying. But if you know it's out of your wheelhouse, baby, man, it's best to defer and find somebody else. Why? Well, that's what makes the world go around, right? Yeah. Think about it. We all have a talent and we pay for different services. And that's what helps obviously the service industry and whatever industry that may be. If I need help with my YouTube channel, well, there's only so much I know. That's not my thing. My thing's the talking, right? Just like I'm doing with this podcast and on camera, on stages. But as far as growing the YouTube following, boy, I've hired a YouTube coach to help out with that, because that's what they do. I don't understand the algorithms. I don't understand what in the world half that stuff behind the scenes is going on. Now, I've educated myself to the best of my ability, but then it gets down to, you weigh it out. What do I value my time at? Well, I should be spending, just like you should be spending, your time on your level, your zone of expertise, and producing at that high level. That's how you draw in an income, right? Yeah. But it goes even deeper than that, deeper than the coaching for a YouTube channel. Or, if we're always talking about getting in better shape. If you need to, hire a personal fitness trainer. Yeah. Well, go to the gym. Got to get that membership, right? And maybe it's been 15, 20 years since you've been in the gym, or maybe a bit less than that. Man, a little kickstart. Well, I wanted to bring this up, and because, being vulnerable, always trying to talk about being vulnerable and everything that I'm doing with the podcast and my life and my kids and my family and what I'm doing and some of the struggles I'm battling and going through. But what really prompted this podcast was my buddy of mine, Dave, across the street. You hear me talk about Dave all the time. He's my workout partner, and he got me turned on to this Fitbot exercise and fitness app, which I've been given a ton of shout-outs to. It's phenomenal. And we've been working out together, kind of each other's accountability partner, and I've had great success with that. But anyway, he's got a boat here in Florida, and it had some work done on it, and he needed to bring it back to his boat slip or his dock area from, I guess, kind of the repair area. It's pretty cool. I don't know if you ever, I'd never seen this before, but you drive the boat and you kind of pull it up and into this, I guess, dock area. And then they put these straps underneath the boat and lift the whole boat up and then take the boat on these huge straps and these wheels and wheel it on over. And it's up in the air, and the mechanic comes and does his thing. And after they're done, this guy's controlling it with this, I don't know, it's like it's a control pad thing, takes it back. And I'm talking, this is a huge, huge, massive boat. This isn't a little pontoon boat he's got. And anyway, bring it back and lower it down in the water, and then releases the straps on one side, pulls it up, and all the boat's back in the water in the dock. So, but what we had to do was take it from that area, the service area, and then drive it out the little channel area, and then back to his boat slip area. You can tell I'm really technical on the boat terms here. Well, anyway, I've helped. Dave has been humble enough to always ask, "Hey, man, if you've got a few minutes, I could use some help here because it's he's got a huge boat, like I said, and trying to maneuver it around, and then he's got to go with it. And sometimes the current's blowing the water and manipulating and moving the boat. It's quite challenging. Now, I've got my boating license, and we belong to a boat club down here for a while, and we would take out, and I would just take out the pontoon boat for me and the family, and friends would go along. But that was a pontoon boat, held, it was like 10 to 12 people. Dave's boat is like I don't know if it's classified a yacht. In my eyes, it's a yacht. But anyway, it's a big old boat. So he's asked help kind of, back it in, tie the thing off and this and that. And I'm always glad, happy as heck to help. Humble warrior there, right? Willing to ask for help. Well, anyway, this was just a few days ago. We're going, and only should take about 20 minutes. We're going to get back and work out. Going along, and Dave's maneuvering, and suddenly one of the engines goes out, which is kind of frustrating. He just had the doggone thing worked on. But anyway, the engine goes out, and he's like, "What the heck?" His wife's yelling, "Dave, you got to turn, you got to turn." He goes, I'm trying to turn. And the weird thing is with this big boat, this whole show is going to be on a boat, I guess. You rarely use the steering wheel. You actually use the two engines back and forth. Once again, this is above my not only pay grade, but boating knowledge grade as well. But all I know is the doggone boat, one of the motors went out, the port side, and it started drifting. Well, Dave did an incredible job of not crashing into another boat because he's in this little small area, and he was able to get it next to the dock area to tie off, but not his boat slip area. Well, he reaches out as much as, he was like, "Man, this is above me. There's no way on one engine I can get this thing through this narrow corridor here." I don't know if it's called a corridor or not, but just a area of water between boats to back into his boat slip. We calls this guy, and I'm going to give him a shout out because I was totally impressed with Captain Will. He's 27 years old, hardworking, stand out in the crowd, everything I always talk about, when I talk to young adults and teens about doing the little things like working hard, having honor and integrity, discipline, respect, doing what you say you're going to do. Holy smokes. Well, they call him up. And long story short, he was at a dock not too terribly far away. So we went and picked him up, and he came back. And with the help of all of us, he was pretty impressive the way he maneuvered the boat with just one motor running into this slot. Now, there were a couple, puckering moments, you know what I mean by puckering, like, oh my gosh, here, because it was, the current picked up quite a bit, but he got it in there. So I bring that up because unless there's certain things we can do and certain things we can't do. Now, if Dave wasn't humble enough to ask for help, holy smokes. I mean, he could have crashed into other boats, which would have done damage to them. He could have crashed his own boat. And then, of course, crashing big old boats, that's a heck of an impact. Who knows, people on board could have been injured as well. So it gave me the idea to put this in a podcast and then challenge you, which will come at the very end, right? Can you in areas that maybe aren't your level or zone of expertise. Be humble enough to embrace your vulnerability and then ask for help. Now, you may say, how does that boost your confidence? Well, boost your confidence because you feel strong and good enough about yourself that you're not, quote, quote, too manly to ask somebody for help. Yeah, a lot of times that's where we had, you know, the old thing, oh, man, real men don't ask for help. I'm too manly for that. I can do it on my own. If you can't do it, then you're not a real man. Well, that's a bunch of garbage. And then a couple shows ago, I talked about a word or a phrase that, in my opinion, is just a made-up media term, and that's toxic masculinity. And the reason I say it's a made-up media term or a propaganda point, because real men, you ready for this? Real men aren't toxic. Real men believe enough in themselves where they're able to ask for help when they need it. Real men aren't rude, mean, and disrespectful. Real men aren't abusive to kids or women or somebody that's, not as powerful or strong as they are. Right? Yeah. Weak people have, well, I guess, quote, quote, toxic masculinity, if you want to use that term. But it's actually toxic weakness is what it is. Why? Well, just like bullying I talk about all the time. Or predators. What do? They're weak-minded. There's nothing masculine about them. Absolutely not. They're weak. And weak people hurt people, try and hurt others. Yeah, masculine guys don't do that because they believe enough in themselves. They hold doors for ladies. They hold doors for their wives. They teach their young men to grow up to be respectful. Manners, discipline, respect. Not abusing somebody that's smaller or weaker than you. Now, that's toxic weakness. Toxic masculinity is a made-up word. There's masculinity, which is a good thing, and then there's toxic weakness. So, back to the humble warrior. To show your masculinity, be humble. If you don't know something, turn to somebody who does. And once again, I'm not saying you don't try on your own. But like here, we've blessed, we've got a new house. It's only a couple years old now. And here you go. I never thought buying a brand new house built that I would have to work on stuff that goes out so doggone quickly, like the darn dishwasher was out the other day. Well, I got on the group chat with the guys in the neighborhood and asked. Now, here's the thing. Yes, I could have asked one of them to come over and do it, but I asked them, hey, have you had this issue before? What did you do? Well, they told me it's a small part, small piece. Now, I'm not the most mechanically inclined. I can fix things when I need to, but I'm like, all right, well, I got the part. I can do this. Now, if I'd have ran into a bunch of trouble, I would have humbly asked them to come over, but I also realize everybody's busy. But be humble enough to ask. And I did. And the same thing. There's so many things that I'm unable to do, as far as working on cars, if I really need to, but being humble enough to take my car into the shop when it needs fixed. Now, I could do it on my own, but once again, I'm back to valuing my time. My time is doing this. This is my gift. Somebody else gets paid to work on the car, to do that. So be humble enough to realize that, because there's only so many hours in the day. Does that make sense? Okay. And then a few other things I wrote down in my show notes here on, finance coaches. Yeah, you can read all about it, but if you're able, you have the means, hire somebody that specializes in that. Now, do your due diligence and make sure you hire somebody you can trust, especially with, any type of coaching, but definitely your finances. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of, let's just say the financial institutions are something to be questioned. So interview, do your job on that. And the same thing, I got a speaking coach that I work with. And if you need a marriage counselor, don't be too proud, man. The life is tough. There's a ton of struggles. You put everything into your marriage, into your relationship. Be humble enough to take that next step if you need to, and get some counseling if you need to. Same thing with therapy. If you need therapy, that's used to think, I can handle my own problems. Real men don't go to therapists. Well, if it's beyond your control, if maybe your marriage or your relationship with your kids or your family is on the ropes here, be humble enough to be vulnerable. Get the help you need. And once again, how's that boost your confidence? Because, man, when you feel better about yourself, because you're doing everything you can to make it right, that boosts your confidence. It's going to make you a better person. And the more confident you are, the more, guys, masculine you become. not toxic weakness. And then you're willing to do what you can to help out others. Remember, you've got to be your very, very best in order to serve at your very, very best. You got to be at your very best in order to help others become their very, very best, right? You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't offer advice you don't have, and you can't help those if you can't even help yourself. So that goes back to, we talk about this a lot on the podcast. You've got to make sure that not only your cup is full, but you're doing a great job with your health, your finances, your mental health. Yeah. Before you can do anything to help anyone else out. And a lot of times, you got to reach out. Be humble. Be a humble warrior. Embrace vulnerability to boost your confidence. So I wanted to bring that up. I've got a few more things here we want to cover here, but just shout out to Dave and Stephanie, as always, for asking me to help. I'm very grateful and honored, and for allowing me to, use their gym. What a great gym they've got over there. And it's good a time as any to suggest and recommend FitBod, exercise and fitness app again. I'm telling you what, we hammered out another great workout today, and it's the app really pushes you and kicks your butt in order to do your best. I don't want to let it down. It's like, all right, well, the app suggested 5 sets of this. Like, today we did 8 sets of bench press. Holy smokes. Now, the thing is, it's not super crazy heavy weights. It's just a darn lot of reps and sets. And then we get some supersets worked into there and everything else. But, man, I'm seeing a difference. And then I mentioned about this supplement, this green company greens that I'm taking, and I'm seeing great results from it too. Recovering a lot faster, sleeping a lot better, feeling a heck of a lot better about myself. And I just spoke with the rep that I'm working with the other day, and I haven't mentioned the company just yet because I want to get all my behind the scenes set up. So when I do mention the company, if you want to come on and be a partner, you're definitely welcome to do so. Or if you'd like to, purchase some of the supplements, that'll be we'll have all that set up in advance as well. But I got to get all my P's and Q's, so to speak, in the back end, being humble here, reach out to the expert and get all that set up before I announce it. But no, I've had some good success with it, and I'm feeling really, really good about it. So that's I'll be launching that, I guess, product name soon. I'll just say soon. I don't know when. All right. So back to my initial questions. How hard is it to ask for help? And I get it. Sometimes it can be tough. But now, think about what we just talked about. And then asking for help, is that ever a bad thing? Does that mean you're weak? Well, hopefully with everything I've just talked about, you realize, no, it's not weak. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. And then, are you man enough and strong enough to ask for help? Yeah, try and do it yourself, yes. But reach out. Reach out. I had some of these things I talk about now. Well, most of the things I talk about now, kind of the 2.0 version, I keep using that because a little tease here. I'm going to see Bedros Kilian. He's another guy I've been following, his podcast and YouTube channel. Anyway, I'm going to fly out to California at the beginning of September, and going to a conference with him. I got the VIP platinum thingamajanger, so I'm going to get a chance to hang out with all the speakers and pick their brain, their mind on what they're doing. And it's all about his thing. He keeps saying, the reason I keep saying the 2.0, because that's his whole version. Hey, you need to be the 2.0 version of yourself. Make the rest of your life the best of your life. Learn from your 1.0 version, all the mistakes you made, all the goof ups. If you're a party animal, then okay, that was in the past now. Learn from those mistakes. If you had some financial mess ups, which, I had 2 bankruptcies, house foreclosure, cars repossessed, and just a total nut job with finances. I always thought I could outwork my problems. Well, working hard is good, but you also got to work smart. Anyway, that, and then he talked about how he had some difficulties. He moved to this country from Armenia and had great difficulty. He was bullied as a kid because he didn't speak the language, and he was poor. So got into some trouble, made some poor choices, hung around with the wrong people. And of course, you pay for all those things, right? Nothing in life is free. You mess up, man, you're going to end up having to pay the price. Well, everything I just talked about, he kind of refers to as your 1.0 version. But now his whole push is having, it shows mostly men, but definitely men, women, anybody that wants to be better, a better version of themselves, to be their very, very best, to live the life they were born to live. Now he talks about that's your 2.0 version. You learn from the 1.0. Now let's live the 2.0, which is much, much better. And his big thing is on, men being men, exercising, working out, and raising young men to be respectful members of society, that help out, not bully, but help those that can't help themselves. And so I'm kind of, I don't know, I keep hearing that and I keep thinking, yeah, that's right, 2.0. I don't want to steal his thunder on that, but hopefully that helps you a little bit if you're, maybe that's a point, you're at a transition point in your life. Well, take that step. And speaking of taking a step, this Friday, depends on when you listen to this, but I'm actually driving to Miami, which is about 3.5 hour drive from where I live here in Florida. I live in Palmetto, which is, it's about 45 minutes south of Tampa. Well, anyway, they got a thing, a speak off, which I never even heard of it before, but, goodness gracious, I just had a brain freeze. Grant Cardone, that's what it is. Grant Cardone and Peter Vargas is putting this on, and it's almost like an American Idol, but it's for speakers. Anyway, you get 60 seconds to deliver your speech and see what happens. So this could be a tremendous opportunity for me to connect with these guys and then hopefully get picked up and maybe get on a couple stages with Grant Cardone, which would be fantastic. Now, they said last year they had over 27,000 applicants. So it's going to be big time, but I've been working on you only get 60 seconds, which is tough for me. I got a bit of a talking problem. So condensing my message down to 60 seconds, it's been a little bit of a challenge, but I'm feeling really, really good about it. And I'm excited. I broke it down to 2 different speeches, and then being humble enough, talking about this podcast, Humble Warrior, Embracing Vulnerability to Boost Confidence. I've been sampling my different, the 2 that I've narrowed it down to with family and friends and asking which one they like best. And it's kind of divided down the middle here. So I'm like, oh man, which one am I going to go with? So anyway, what I'll do is I'll just tease you. So you got to listen to the next episode, but I'll let you know which one I decided on, and then also go ahead and record, say it and record it. And then by the next episode, we'll have the Feel Good Friday. That'll air. I'll let you know how things went a week from today, or a week from this recording. Good. There's a lot of stuff I threw in there, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. So back to the kind of the challenge here. Being humble enough, it's okay to be vulnerable. Now, I know, I share a lot about growing up, my dad loving more than I ever have. And I say that because we didn't have the best relationship for a number of years. He's a Vietnam vet. He's part of the 101st Airborne, so a wounded Vietnam vet. And his whole take on life is tough. It's going to kick you in the teeth. It's going to beat you down. If you're ever vulnerable, you ever expose any weakness, the world's going to tear you apart and rip you to shreds. So kind of grew up tough and grew up mean. Those that listen a lot, I often talk about that Johnny Cash song, A Boy Named Sue, could have very easily been a boy named Richie. As growing up, that was, Richie, you better toughen up. Richie, the world's going to eat you up and spit you out. Richie, you better quit being such a wussy. You better quit being such a wimp. You better toughen up. I mean, that was how it was, because he knew how rough the world was. But Dad also had that he was never able to be vulnerable, because when he got, like I mentioned, the Vietnam experience. He was part of the 101st Airborne in 1968, 1969. So you talk about horrific times. Vietnam was horrific to begin with. But that's, he provided mortar support to Hamburger Hill. So you can kind of look that up in your history books and see what happened to the 101st Airborne. Not good at all, and being a part of that. But anyway, I say I love him to death because I know now, the 2.0 version of myself, that he did the absolute very, very, very best he could with the knowledge he had. He just knew that the world was a tough, nasty, mean place. Kind of like what Rocky says, right? Yeah, it'll beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. He knew that, so he was doing what he could to kind of toughen me up to the best of his abilities, to give me the tools I needed. But now I'm also saying, look, I think Dad missed out on a lot of life by being so closed off and so reserved, and maybe not able to let out his softer side. I get a little emotional there thinking about it. So I say all that because maybe you have a father that you didn't have the best relationship with, or you didn't connect with very well, or, for whatever reason. And maybe, your father was abusive. I'll never mention, I'll never talk about any of those things. I mean, Dad did, like I said, the best he could ever do. So just forgive and know that for whatever reason, hurt people hurt others. They were probably hurt, and maybe they were just doing the best they could do at the time. So be a humble warrior. Be humble enough to forgive. Maybe reach out to him if you haven't talked to him in a while. As we talk about a lot, there's a lot going on in the world. Not only today, but always has been, always will be. But we got a lot of craziness going on. There's so much corruption and so much ugliness and so much deceit and the neglect, and people are just, social media has taken over everybody's minds. Parents are spending less and less time with their kids. Everybody's on a device just being manipulated in every which way or shape or form. So and where am I going with this? Well, where I'm going with this is be the man, be the woman you were born to be, and be humble enough to reach out. Connect with your kids. Connect with a spouse if you haven't done that in a while. Connect with your family, your parents. Ask them for help. So I can earn enough. My parents, you don't understand, man. No, I don't. And I've been more and more direct on my podcast lately and my YouTube channel and everything else. And somebody say, man, you kind of, not everybody agrees with that message. And my goal is not to turn anybody off. My goal is to be as honest and transparent and open as I possibly can. But at the same time, I got to be true to who I am and my beliefs. And it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what you do. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be right for absolutely everybody. But you are going to be perfect, and you are going to be absolutely right for the people you're meant to help, meant to serve, meant to guide and push to the next level. Because everybody's a hero to somebody, but not everybody's a hero to everybody. Yeah. All right. So a couple other things I want to mention before we move on here. Where was I? I lost it here. Oh, when I talk about being vulnerable and being humble, and the biggest reason I was, for the longest time, not as humble as I could have been and should have been, or wasn't vulnerable, one, kind of dad beat that into me. But the other reason was you see people on social media. Once again, here's social media coming back as another deterrent. Social media is a good way to connect with people, but I'm telling you, there's so much, and unfortunately, downside to it that I see. The destruction of our kids and our youth is you see somebody that's constantly on there, and they're hurt. I get it, but every single time you look, oh, please send prayers for this. Please send prayers for that. Oh, my life's a disaster. Oh, my life's a wreck. Oh, my life's a mess. Now, granted, it's not that I'm not sympathizing with those people. I get it. They need help. They're hurt. But don't put it on social media. Now, people listen to this, you're not doing that. And the reason, well, that's good, but the reason you're so reluctant to be humble enough to ask for help when you really need it is because you think, if I ask for help, I'm going to be just like those people. Now, once again, I'm not pointing fingers. I don't know what the heck they're going through. However, we, in a way of trying to, I guess, show our manliness and our toughness, we don't want anything to do with them. So if we think we got to ask for help, we're going to be weak and we're going to be classified like they are. That's not true. It's absolutely not true. And by the way, if you've got a friend that keeps doing that and you've tried to help them, but they just love the sympathy and the misery, and they just want company, and they really don't want help, do what you can, but then you got to know when it's time to cut the ties. Because if not, they're going to bring you down in the abyss with them. And I've given the example many times. Picture this. We're both on a boat. A lot of boat talk today. And you jump overboard, and I throw you a life preserver, and you say, and you push the life preserver away. No, I don't want the life preserver. But you're drowning. So I throw you another one. You push it away. No, I don't want the life preserver. So I'm like, well, gosh darn. But I need help. Well, I jump in, and I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to swim over the life preserver and help you. And it turns out you don't want to help. You just don't want to drown alone. Well, my point is, and some people may say, well, then you should go down with them. Well, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. You do what you can to save somebody, but not at your own. Because you have a gift. You're meant to empower how many hundreds, thousands, millions of people. And if one person just wants you to drown with them, no, that's not being a good person to the rest of the world. Now, you do everything you can to save that person, but at the end of the day, man, oh man, if they don't want help, they just don't want to drown alone, well, what are you going to do? Wow, that's kind of a right hook of reality. That's a tough question, isn't it? Well, I say that, and I know that's kind of morbid and that's extreme, but picture that in life. You know, you're trying to help somebody and you're sacrificing and spending every bit of your time on, but they're not willing to do anything to help themselves. And what are you costing? Well, and I tell you this, because my wife Desi always hits me with a right hook of reality. I'll get, occasionally somebody sends something negative and horrible in. So instead, I've gotten better, 2.0 version now, I just block and delete it and delete that person and move on. That's what I advise you to do. But before, I'd be like, well, you know what? Maybe I didn't connect with that person in a way they understood. So I'll go out of my way to try and make it right because I'm trying to help them. But what happens is they are essentially pulling me down and I'm drowning with them because I'm spending and sacrificing all my time on this one person who clearly doesn't want any help. They just want attention, I guess. But by doing so, I'm turning my back on those that count on me the most. My family, my friends, our fans on the show, those that really want to put in the time, the work, the effort, those that really want to get better, those that need the little extra time, but they're willing to put in the work to get the results. Not the ones that are willing, all they want, because as soon as they're going to leech onto somebody else. You know, Zig Ziglar once said, and this is crazy, but it falls right in line with what I'm talking about here. He once said, the worst thing you can do for certain people is to solve their problem. Now they got nothing to complain and whine about, and they're miserable because they enjoy the misery. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but think about that. Now, do you know somebody in your life like that? Once again, do what you can to help them. But remember, you got to draw a line at what you're going to sacrifice to do so. You can say, hey, listen to the Warrior Confidence Unleashed podcast or watch some of these videos, you know, and I'm here for you. Yes, I'm going to help. But also you got to draw that line because if you turn your back, and here's the right hook of reality for my wife. She goes, well, you are so involved, and yes, it's admirable to try and help somebody, but that person's got to be willing to help themselves. But if you're so involved in here and this person doesn't want it, you're essentially turning your back on the millions that do. And what good are you really serving? Man, that's a right hook of reality from Desi, right? Bang! She just jacked me with one. But I definitely wanted to share that with you because that's a slippery slope. It really, really is. Because we see it on social media and people doing that just for attention, and they need help. Try and help them to the best of your abilities. But if you're not a clinical psychologist, you're not a clinical counselor, and you've got your own family, man, you can only do so much. And I hope you understand where I'm coming from with that. I'm not saying you ever turn your back on a friend, but I am saying it gets to the point where eventually you have to say enough is enough. Yeah? Yeah. You have to. But then that gets back to the humble warrior I'm talking about. If you need some help, man, reach out. Reach out. But do the work that needs to be done in order to get better. Don't just reach out for sympathy and pity. I did a video not too long ago on our YouTube channel called Avoid Pity Parties at All Cost. You know, pity parties, the worst thing about a pity party is, well, anytime I go to a party, I want to have a good time. Well, pity parties, there's no good time, there's no gifts, there's only pity. So avoid those at all cost. The same thing. So be humble, ask for help if you need help, but then be willing to do the work that needs to be done. Right? All right. Good. We kind of circled around a lot of different topics there, but obviously the whole thing of everything we talk about here is to empower you with that warrior confidence, to believe in yourself so you can unleash your inner warrior, to overcome your fears, battle through your challenges, overcome adversity and struggles and fears and bullies and anything else that's holding you back from being the hero that you were born to be. Can we do it? Absolutely, we can do it. But once again, you got to be willing to put in the work. And if you need help, gosh darn it, ask for help, but then be willing to do the work that you need to do to get that help. Good. All right. Well, as a reminder, make sure you subscribe to the podcast and our YouTube channel. And our YouTube channel, make sure you ring that bell so you don't ever miss an empowering episode. And this podcast is worldwide, so you can subscribe on any podcast app, or I know we got a lot of friends that listen to the podcast right on the YouTube channel. They ring that notification bell on the YouTube channel and subscribe so they get notifications every time a new video or podcast comes out. So that's probably the best of both worlds. There's talk about, we considered doing these podcasts kind of a live stream, so you can actually, see me. I can interact with you. And I used to do them that way, and talked about getting guests back on the show. We ran into a little hiccup with that because the streaming platform I'm using now doesn't allow that. So a little hiccup on that, but we'll figure out a way to make it happen, because I really want to get some guests back on the show, because that was a big thing from a lot of the fans. They said, man, they love hearing from the guests, hearing what knowledge and wisdom they have. And then also that would be a live stream, so you could see both of us and engage in the interactions and ask questions if you're able to tune into the live stream, and all those other benefits of doing that. So anyway, YouTube channel is probably the best way to go. It's the channel name is actually Grogan's Bully Proof. I was unable to change that, but I guess the channel name is Warrior Confidence Unleashed. But if you type in YouTube, youtube.com/Grogan's Bully Proof is the name, and I've got the @Warrior Confidence, but for some reason that doesn't pop up when you type that in. So the links are in the description box. I guess you got nothing to worry about with that. Just click on the link and share the link with somebody if they need it. But maybe our YouTube gurus out there, you can send me a message and let me know what I need to do to get that changed over from Grogan's Bully Proof to Warrior Confidence Unleashed. That would be great. And of course, if we've earned it, please kindly leave that 5-star review and write out a review for others to see, and then share that. And obviously, if somebody could benefit from this message, gosh darn, share this message with them, help empower their lives, and then kind of help the channel grow as well, because the more subscribers, more followers we get, the bigger the audience we're going to be able to reach, right? The more people we're going to reach, and we're going to rate higher in the search engines and search results, so more people are going to find the podcast. And our ultimate goal is making society a happier, healthier, and safer place to live. So that's the goal. And last, if you haven't picked up a copy of my books yet, Becoming Bully Proof and I Believe in Me, the A through Z positive affirmation book for little kids, check that baby out. The links are in the description box, or you can just go right to our website, warriorconfidence.com, and grab a copy there. Sound good? Little shout outs. I gave one to Fitbod. We'll give another one. They're doing fantastic. My wife's business, Beachside Blend, they're moving along, looking at September 1st. So that's getting close. And if you're in the Edwardsville, Illinois area, Goshen Martial Arts, go check them out. I'm my top student and senior instructor. That's what I was trying to say. Master Nathan Wilken, and he's running the academy and doing a fantastic job with that. Good. All right, folks. Well, thank you so very, very much for spending the time with me. I really, truly appreciate it. As I mentioned, if you found value, share it with someone. And remember, I love you. God loves you. Please share your gift and share that love with the world. And until we talk again, you get out there and do your best. And I promise you'll be your very best. God bless you. God bless your loved ones. I can't wait to chat with you again real soon. Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you so very much for listening today. I am truly grateful. My goal is to empower millions of people with hope, faith, and confidence to believe in themselves in order to make our society a happier, healthier, and safer place to live. But I can't do it alone. So if you found value in this message, please share it with someone else who could benefit from it, and by subscribing and leaving a 5-star review. Be sure to pick up copies of my books for yourself and someone you care about at www.warriorconfidence.com. Also, remember to stay empowered throughout the week by subscribing to our YouTube channel and our Facebook and Instagram pages at Warrior Confidence. Thank you again, and have a blessed day.